Hello and welcome to today's video. On screen you can see the settings that I'll be using for my practice races. I'm trying to mimic the races in Daily Race C, and yeah, I'm just going to be racing against the AI at their highest difficulty, and I'll try and see if I can figure out the tire strategy that I'll be taking into the race later on today, which I think it's probably going to be a day after today for whenever this video goes live. Anyway, here, I just wanted to make sure that everything carried over. When I tried to save the tune for the cars, basically just made a not a tune. I don't know, a setup basically, and copied it over to that second row. And I was comparing it to see if anything had changed. It doesn't. Honestly, I'm not even sure if that works. Like Gran Turismo setup for daily races and trying to copy profiles over is a little weird. Anyway, here we go. My first race. So, here we go. In the race. We're going. It's go time. And guess what? I'm falling off the pack. And here I'm kind of looking at whether or not I want to move my fuel to lean or not. I still haven't really looked into what kind of strategy I want to play out during the race. But a good first strategy would probably be to figure out my braking, which is part of what this race is about. Learning the track in a non-boring way. So doing like tons of laps just alone on the circuit, and do a bunch of laps behind the AI, and hopefully eventually develop a plan. Sadly though, not much else happens from here. The AI just keep pulling away. I more or less maintain a, I don't know, roughly 20-ish second differential at one point, but hey, I didn't really get close. And I had a ton of little incidents like the ones I'm about to show on screen. I think this first incident takes place at corner 4, carrying way too much speed. Noise. And here, what corner is this? This is after that little chicane, I think. Anyway though, from here, let's skip to the end, see how that went. Yep, and there we are, last place. Another thing I forgot to mention is I'm also doing pit stops. Even though the AI, sadly, there's no way to make them do a pit stop. In Daily Race C, you have to use both soft and medium rubber. So here I go again for my second race. This second practice race went a lot better than the first one. I actually was able to get on the pace. Doing all those laps, it turns out, eventually kind of found my braking points. Also, I realized that you don't need to run any leaner on fuel than full fuel mix, because the race is only 10 laps and I don't think you get even close to running out. I'm pretty sure though an issue that I hadn't completely covered yet was the braking bias. The brakes on the Ford, the braking bias change doesn't feel too bad moving forward, like far forward, compared to having it in true neutral. And I noticed that the rear tires had weared out a lot more than the front tires. So later on in the race I end up moving the braking bias forward. I think here I'm -2 as we watch me kind of force my way past the Mustang. So now I'm pretty sure we're behind. Who's this guy? This is a Aston Martin. They do some weird stuff like breaking through that chicane, and also they seem to turn in on you if you're on the inside on that corner, which isn't ideal, as you can imagine. But we make it up into P17. That is 3 positions better than earlier. And we're still on lap 1. It's looking good so far. Up into P16, easily slipstreaming past the Supra. And still kind of feeling out my braking points in T1. Here we come to an old problem corner. I don't know. I was doing some weird stuff where I was like lifting off of the brakes a little bit too much. Probably going in a little bit too light. I probably should have started just applying 100% brake and then like feathering off, but I would come in light and then level off, causing me to like go out and into the wall like you saw in like an earlier crash. So now though, we're up onto, I think this is a Mazda. This car sounds great, though I don't think I've ever seen it up high on the leaderboards. It's just nice. But it is interesting, like the sound in this game. Yeah, see, that's what I was talking about earlier, where the AI brake a little bit in the braking zone, or not in the braking zone, in the chicane, or you only really need to like come off the throttle and maybe apply a little bit of braking to make it through. I let him back by because, you know, it's up to the overtaker to make a safe overtake, and it's not like it's the AI. It's not like they're brake checking me. They're just slower. And here, not really getting my braking point right. And the Mazda doing a great job and just pulling away. We're having a little battle here between the two of us. But doing that, the cars ahead start to look like they're pulling away. Not too badly though. Look at that, a differential of 0.3. Not bad at all, though the leader is 25 seconds ahead. And I still have to make a pit stop. So, it's not great. But, we're gonna go for the move on the straight here. I'm not 100% on the move, because I don't think I've ever done a pass on the outside. And I was very nervous about that braking point, because I've hit the wall there far too many times. It was weird. I think my inconsistent brake pressure hasn't really helped me there. When I'm coming in, I usually broke between the 150 and the 100, and sometimes it feels like if you put it too close to the 100, it just spits you out into the wall, which, as you can imagine, not great. Another one of my problem corners is that one right there. I felt like I could definitely keep a higher top speed going into it. It's just the steering angle feels floaty and a little weird, like trying to point myself through it. As we brake way too late to get passed again by the Mazda. I think seeing the 2 cars ahead was a little distracting. Probably thinking of trying to make a move later on them. Skipping on ahead again. We don't really make too much progress from here. And we have another little incident. Braking really late, going off the track, and scrubbing against the wall and doing a spin. I think I was 5 laps in here, and then I couldn't find reverse. Turns out it is pretty difficult, even with a sequential shifter. Maybe it's just difficult for me. Either way, I come into the pits because, I don't know, scrub lap and scrub tires. Time for new ones. And here, a nice thing about Gran Turismo is you can just send it into the pits as fast as possible, as long as you don't hit anyone. It just automatically takes care of the speed for you, and the whole pitting thing. Also really like this little pitting animation. It looks nice. So, coming out of the pits, not much happens, and we skip ahead into lap 8, where I found myself back with a, what is this? I don't know, a red car. A red car against me. And guess what? I'm gonna pull ahead of them, and they've got nothing to say about it, because these cars, or at least these AI, will back out in that corner every time. They always break through there for some reason. And we skip ahead again because there isn't really too much happening. We're on the final lap here though. And I finally caught up to the pack of the rest of the cars. I think it took me, 2 laps. And guess what? Got greedy. I feel like that's a theme with my racing so far. That's why I want to do a ton more to try and like get it out of my system. We end up finishing last, and that other car from before passes us again. Anyway though, we go into our third race, our third and final practice before attempting Race C online. This race was much better, but I still had some errors. Anyway, back into it. We already start out in 19th before even crossing the line, and we're already looking at the Mustang. Racing against this Mustang was a bit of a pain just because it seemed that it braked a lot earlier than a lot of the other cars. Maybe it's just my feeling towards all AI, but that one in particular felt like I was getting in a lot of trouble with it. Passing it, we are looking at taking on the Aston Martin ahead, and we're gaining on them really quickly. Oh, forgot to mention, we are on soft tires because I felt maybe a good strategy would go go out on the soft tire, try and fight and have like an advantage over your opponents with the tires, and then around lap 5 switch to mediums, because I think in my first run I started medium to soft. And maybe it's just because of the way that I treated the medians in my first run, but it didn't really feel too different from trying to carry softs lap 5 from carrying mediums. Though I guess in my first run I did have a lot of spins. Anyway, this is another overtaking opportunity right here because the AI break through that little chicane. Oh, it turns out that's an Aston Martin, or a Jaguar, not an Aston Martin. I put myself right alongside and the AI turns in. But I'm there, so there wasn't really anything that I could do to really get out of their way, since I would have to have not been there before they turned in. Anyway, we end up passing the Supra down the straight because they broke on that earlier turn and nothing really happened past that, so I ended up skipping forward. Here I just caught the rest of the pack, 15 onwards, and I'm trying to make a move on a Subaru into this long corner. It's a bit of a risky move, and I've had a lot of trouble trying to make those dives stick, but here, as you can tell, made it work, and we're moving forward. We've got a group of 3 cars ahead, which is 3 potential positions to possibly gain before I have to pit. And we meet our old friend in the Mazda. That glorious shouting Mazda. And it looks like we get a great run. Ew, that's an actual Aston Martin that we're trying to outbrake here. The Aston Martin comes in real tight and then goes out wide. Not sure why it does that. It would be interesting to see the AI try and not instead of them doing the whole thing where they just pull tight near you and then back off and go super wide. If they kept tight, that'd be really cool to see. Anyway, we skip a lap or so ahead because it's just me trying to catch up. As you can see, we have caught up to 12th, 11th, 10th, and 9th place. They're all up for grabs here, and the Golf decides that was a great place to brake. I'd understand lifting, but I'm not sure why the AI like braking there. Either way, I make it up pretty easily thanks to the slipstream of the Audi ahead and the massive power of the Ford. I'm in the Ford GT test car 2, I think, prototype. Once again, we've caught up here onto 12th or 10th place, and we're looking for the move, easily making it through that little chicane since they come through it so slowly, and outbraking them. Just clean and as simple as that. Now we are looking to try and catch up to 9th place here. Trying to get through as quickly as possible because unlike the AI, like I mentioned earlier, I'll be making a pit stop and I need to make up as many positions as I can to come in as high of a placing as I can against the AI. Not too bad. Doing a move around the outside, it was fairly clean too. No contact. And we're coming in to one of my old trouble corners, going in pretty wide. Got a Ferrari and a Supra ahead. Trying to take the Supra slipstream, but the Ferrari is still out accelerating me. Oh, a bit too deep there. And we get nudged around by the Ferrari, though, yeah, it was kind of our fault there. Causing a bit more ruckus. Definitely should have tried. You're supposed to hold on to your brakes, I think, right, in sim racing. And that's definitely not what I did there, causing a bit of a traffic jam. Anyway, we keep going. That's all to keep in mind for an actual race. Don't actually send it through there if you're 3 wide. We skip forward again. Not too much happened except for the pit stop at lap 5, and we end up spinning through an old nemesis corner of mine, and it has come and tested my patience. Here, I contemplate rage quitting and decide, you know what, this practice, just keep going, churn out them laps. I'll come out better for it. So, skipping on ahead, after 2 more laps, we catch up to the back of the pack. Here is that Mustang. Racing it against this AI. I don't know why it was so frustrating. I think we're about to see why, as you see him brake through that corner, even though you could definitely carry so much more speed. I guess it makes it easier to pass if you know where they are. I probably should have had my proximity radar down in the bottom right, but since I was basically just lapping earlier, I wanted to see how I was doing against some of my best times. The Mustang there, braking before that turn in, giving me an easy pass. And now I am trying to make up as many positions as I can through the pack, and I've only got 2 laps left. I think, what is that car? The red car out there. Still can't really tell from my very pixelated preview, but we are coming up on it fast. Is it like a Mazda 3 series? And that other Mazda is like some sort of RX concept car? Either way, we're looking for the move into this long turn again. The Mazda closes the door as they are allowed to. And we look for the move on the outside towards this long other braking zone. Here, I probably also should have... I didn't really have my proximity radar, and I just kind of had to go on a hunch, thinking that the Mazda was gone. Thankfully, hunch was correct, and I was easily able to move forward. Now we've got to just keep pushing until the end of the race. Got 1 whole lap and this corner remaining. And it just feels like at this point I could probably let those 2 positions go at any moment, just because I don't know. At the end of a race like this, sometimes like nerves kind of get to you. Like you start looking around, not paying attention to where your braking points are, not following the same lines that you were earlier, trying to pull out maybe a little bit more time to try and catch 17th place like I was doing here. But that wasn't happening in this case. I was actually turning out some pretty clean corners, going pretty much where I should be, braking just about where I should, and coming out a little bit faster than the guy ahead. I think I was gaining almost a second in every corner that I took. Well, not there, since I hit the wall. But I'm pretty sure I'm able to catch and take 17th. Though we'll have to wait and see. I think that corner there, it looked like I nailed it. Or nearly. Maybe it's a little bit slow, but when I was driving it, it felt like I was right on the edge of just sending it into the barrier. And no, actually, no, we are getting really close to 17th here. Is this it looks like a GTR is up ahead, which will be a hard one to beat on the straights, but I know that they brake before this corner. So there's still a chance. And I'm flooring it. But it looks like 18th will be the best I'll get today, because of 2 incidents. Anyway, hope you enjoyed watching. I'm your host, Wei. Well, Chris, whatever. Thanks again for watching. See you next time. Hopefully. Maybe. If you like it. I don't know. I'm indecisive.